Now let us take a quick look at what valves look like in pneumatic systems, directional control valves. I like this picture because it shows some examples of what these directional control valves might look like together with their representative symbols. I think it's nice when you're out in a shop setting not to be totally clueless about what all these doodads are. I just like being able to look at a thing and knowing, at least to myself, oh yeah, that's one of those valves. So to belabor a point, what we remember about pneumatics is that instead of returning to tank, the return exhausts into the atmosphere. And here is a schematic of a three-way valve showing it exhausting to the atmosphere. These are examples out of a fluid power textbook. They're about making fluid power drawings. This author, this is from about 20 years ago, this author often does not use the little triangle. He just uses a line that goes nowhere for his exhaust line. And we've seen other examples of that too. Okay, so symbols for pneumatic valves. These are four-way valves. And thinking back to what you know about hydraulic valves, you might remember that each envelope, each square box, is a position. So here's a 2-position valve, here's a 3-position valve. Then you count how many ports are in, how many openings, holes, are in each of these envelopes, and that's how many ways there are for the air or oil to flow. The thing is, in a pneumatic valve, this is a 4-way valve, 1, 2, 3, 4 ports, but it's got an additional exhaust port. So you just have to get used to the fact that here in the middle one also, 1, 2, 3, 4 ports, so that's a 4-way valve, and it has an additional exhaust port. That's really the only difference between hydraulic symbols and pneumatic symbols for directional control valves. This is out of that fluid power textbook, a diagram of what a 4-way valve looks like. And in hydraulics, as the spool is shifted side to side, the oil can flow back to tank. In a pneumatic valve, as the spool is shifted side to side, rather than flowing back to a tank, the air is exhausted out to the atmosphere, and here's one exhaust over here, here's another exhaust port over here, and then here at the bottom right is the schematic symbol for that valve, E for exhaust. So that is the difference between hydraulic valve symbols, as you see on the left, and pneumatic valve symbols, which you see on the right, when you're showing 4-way valves. So, to repeat, 4-way valves for pneumatics have an extra exhaust port for venting the air to the atmosphere. In pneumatics, the 2-way and 3-way valve symbols look the same as in hydraulics, if you happen to be using those. So here is an example of a schematic. We saw this one before. I'm just repeating it so we can see these valves again. Valves again. If you've ever been in a shop that uses compressed air for its pneumatic actuators, you might have noticed there's this loud popping sound. They're kind of noisy. Yes, they are noisy. When they exhaust to air, When they exhaust to the atmosphere, they make a loud noise. And so in a shop setting, we will put silencers or mufflers on the exhaust port. And this is the symbol in the lower right corner. This is the symbol for a silencer. We are not going to use one of those on our drawing, but I just want you to see what it's like. And you can see two things. One, these alternating lines are kind of like baffles for the air. The air is taking a circuitous path through the filter medium. That's what that's representing. And then there's our triangle foot again, indicating that the air finally gets exhausted into the atmosphere.